Evet, programımız gereği bugün başlıyoruz. Frankfurt Belediyesi'nden Paul Fey aramızda bir belediye deneyimi anlatacak. İklim değişikliğiyle mücadele konusunda ağırlıklı olarak enerji eylemlerine yer vererek bunu yapacak. Sorularınız ya da değerlendirmelerinizi sunuşundan sonra alacağız. Ondan sonra yemek aramız var. Tahmini zamanlama yarım saat ama Sayın Fey zannediyorum rahatlıkla yönetecektir. Teşekkür ediyorum. Buyurun Sayın Fey.
Okay. Yes. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to speak here at the first climate civil summit here in Ankara. And I want to show you some of our experience we have made in Frankfurt according to sustainable energy action or climate change action in Frankfurt. I'm working for the Municipal Energy Agency, and we are responsible for delivering the results to reach the goals the city has set itself for reasons of climate change. Just a little bit thing before to introduce Frankfurt to you. Frankfurt is in the middle of Germany. It's fifth biggest city we have, with about now 700,000 inhabitants. The political situation in Frankfurt is that we have a Lord Mayor from the Social Democratic Party, and we have a majority in our local parliament from the Christian Democratic Party, which are the Conservatives, and the Green Party. This is a view to our town hall. Also, Frankfurt is well known as a financial center and a transportation center. Probably some of you know only the airport from Frankfurt, because you probably visited sometimes but never spent any time in Frankfurt. If you're there and you have time least, go to the city of Frankfurt. It's worth to see, my opinion. Also, we are a big internet hub. I think about 90% of email traffic is going through Frankfurt. You can imagine that this has increased our electricity demand tremendously. I think about 400 gigawatt hours a year. We have more electricity use. This is not good for my budget, because my coins are CO2 savings, and if we increase our electricity use, I will lose. Also, we have quite a big share of industry in Frankfurt, which is responsible for about 30% of our total CO2 emissions. This is probably something which is not so very well known in the rest of Europe. So now I'm coming to how we started doing things to reduce CO2. You must think that the cities in Germany have always been drivers of the process of CO2 reduction. For instance, back in 1990, Frankfurt and several other cities have founded the Climate Alliance. The Climate Alliance is an alliance of about now, I think, 1,500 cities in Europe, which goal is to reduce the CO2 emissions by 50% till 2030. We also joined the Covenant of Mayors, which goal is to reduce CO2 emissions by more than 20% till 2020. And in 2010, the local parliament decided to be to set up a plan to be 100% renewable by 2050. This is very ambitious, but I think you need ambitious goals. If you don't have goals, nothing will happen at the end of the day. And when you think of Germany, back in 1990, I think there was no CO2 reduction goal at all from the government of Germany. Probably a goal which was not so ambitious as it was. But when you look at the decisions of the national government and the energy concepts of the national government, they say that they will reduce CO2 emissions by 55% till 2030, by 40% by 2020, and by 85 to 90% by 2050. So there you see that the cities are the drivers for the national goals, and the cities are also drivers for national legislation. When you think of Renewable Energy Act of Germany, which really is a success story, we now have more than 20% of our total electricity demand provided with renewable energies. And this comes because the feed-in tariff is economically feasible for the operators of the plants. And there has been communities like Aachen and other smaller communities in Germany which had the feed-in tariff for renewable energies back in the 90s. Well, they paid about, in this time, €1 per kilowatt hour electricity. Now the feed-in tariff for electricity out of PV plants is about 18 cents. Yeah. And the colleague showed his electricity bill before. When I look to my electricity bill, I think average household in Germany pays about 0.8 Turkish lira for 1 kilowatt hour. 20% of this payment is for the renewable energies. Because for the government, they don't have to pay nothing for them because they're collecting all the money which is spent for the renewable energy from the consumers. I think this was a very clever idea they had in the past because it doesn't have any relation to their budget. And also other legislational things, like, for instance, we have a feed-in tariff for combined heat and power plant, which are very efficient energy use. You know, a combined heat and power plant produces electricity and heat, and you use it on site. The alternative would be to have a power plant somewhere at the green, somewhere at the landscape, and a boiler for providing heat for the building. And this was also a result from the laboratory of the cities, because, for instance, Frankfurt, we had back in the 90s a feed-in tariff which was much higher than the electricity companies were willing to pay. And beside ambitious goals, of course, you need partners in city networks. For instance, Covenant of Mayors. This is spread all over Europe, and I looked up the site of Covenant of Mayors, and I found that 6 Turkish cities are a member of it, with approximately about 4 million inhabitants, which means I think 5% of the total populations of Turkey. Should be 80 million persons. Right? Yes. Yeah, it's nearly comparable to Germany. We have also about the same amount. And in these networks, there is a lot of benefit for us, and we experience this benefit through experience exchange, through learning from each other, and probably the most interesting thing, adoption of measures. When some measure for energy reduction works in one city, it is very much possible that it also can work in your city, and you can include it into your sustainable energy action plan. And that's what we did. And I think we we are successful, but we are facing a lot of challenges. Like I introduced to you the digital hubs, which increased our CO2 emissions. But to have an idea, if you are doing well or not, you have to balance the CO2 emissions, and that's what we do on the level of the city, not just for us. And we are balancing, and you see that the residential areas in Frankfurt are responsible for about 18% of the total CO2 emissions back in 2010. The trade and commerce sector is responsible for 34%. This is quite clear because most of the jobs in Frankfurt are in this sector. We have about 650,000 jobs, 600,000 jobs for the trade and commerce and public sector, and we have 50,000 jobs in industry, and industry is still responsible for 31% of our CO2 emissions. Traffic is about 1.3 million tons for all areas. This means the traffic on the territory of the city of Frankfurt. This is all what we are balancing. We are making a territorial balance of our CO2 emissions. Every energy demand is counted. So in total we have 8 million tons, and we are still at the beginning to reduce it. As I told you, we started back in 1990, and the emission there per capita, energy-related emissions, have been about 11 tons per inhabitant or per person. Now we've been on a way to reduce our CO2 emissions. Every graph I saw from Turkey was an increase of emissions, but at the end of the day, you're coming from another level. That's what also has to be said. You mentioned that the average CO2 emissions of the Turkish people is about 5.6 tons per person. But this means all of the people, even on the countryside. When I look to Germany, the total emissions of a German is about 10 tons. The emissions in the cities are very much higher because the energy density in the cities is higher. And I would predict that in Ankara or Istanbul, the emissions would be probably even much more than 5.6 tons per person. Well, our midterm goal is to reach the 5.8 tons per person in 2030, and to be at 2 tons per person in the year 2050. Yeah, and it's a long way to go. You see the long-term trend. If it will continue like this, we won't manage it. But if you see short-term trends, it could be possible that the decrease would increase. Our main pillars of our sustained energy action is, I think it was already mentioned, is energy saving and energy efficiency. This is the highest potential we are facing now. The second pillar is to produce heat and electricity in a very efficient way. This means combined heat and power units, or combined heat and power plants for the city. Frankfurt is operating a district heating system which covers about 50% of the total heat demand of the city. And the third pillar is, of course, renewable energies. As I told you, in Germany, about more than 20% are now delivering electricity to the grid. In Frankfurt, we have about a share of 5 or 6% of renewable electricity produced on the territory of Frankfurt. We will not be able to produce all our energy on our territory. We are dependent on the region. We need the countryside, for instance, for windmills, for biomass plants upgrading the biogas to biomethane, feed in the biomethane to the natural gas grid, and use this biomethane then in an efficient way in combined heat and power plants for the district heating. But we believe that the future will be the renewables, but not now, but in the future. This is the outcome of our first Sustainable Energy Action Plan, potential for the next years. And there you see that 63% of CO2 reduction potential is coming out from energy efficiency measurements or energy saving measurements. The district heating will bring us another 22% of this potential, or in numbers, 630,000 tons reduction of CO2 emissions. Smaller cogeneration will also bring a contribution, and of course the transport sector will do a lot of things. I don't know what will happen there because this is not my responsibility, but I knew the good experiences from Stockholm and London for congestion charges. We have the problem that a lot of commuters are coming to Frankfurt, and when you look at the cars, just one person is driving. There should be more persons in this car, because the public transport cannot be built for this peak demand. It would be cost immense amount of money to have a public transport system ready for transporting all the commuters. This is just for the Frankfurt situation, because in Frankfurt 300,000 commuters are coming in the city every day. So in Frankfurt city, the number of persons in the city is 1 million. In the night is 700,000. And now I'm stick very much to the roles we have as a municipality, and this probably could be also a role model for other cities, and to show what is the chance a city can do, because we are always dependent on national regulations. But besides this, we have opportunities to do something to make sustainable energy action happen. First of all, we are an energy consumer city. We are city planners. We are also property owners, because we have a dwelling space for the people in our city. We also are energy providers, because we control 70% of the utility which is supplying electricity, heat and natural gas for Frankfurt. And we are also a consultant or a facilitator for the private sector. That is more or less my role I'm playing in this. And we also have responsibilities for education. Education, primary schools, secondary schools, and engineers. And for all of these role models, I have brought you some examples. It's a lot of text, and I will be short with it. Maybe the presentation will be available on the web. Yes, and when it's made available, I have more detailed examples, which I cannot show now because of the limited time. We're doing energy management for 1,000 properties of the city. And this means controlling, optimizing, investing in energy saving measurements. And the outcome is that we save 12 million euros per year. So it's a very cost effective, and we only spend 4.2 million per year for the investment and the salaries of the people who are working in this department. This is not my department, it's located at another department which is taking care of the properties of the city, but I think this is something a city should do first. There are programs in Turkey for energy managers for public buildings. That's what I saw.
We have also active.
Yeah, and I think this is a very good thing to do so. They established guidelines for cost-effective and energy-saving construction of buildings. These guidelines are also adopted by our housing company and other cities too. And we have one thing, we have a decision by the local parliament that all new buildings of the city have to be built in passive house standard. Passive house standard is a very low, ultra low energy standard, which means that the heat demand of the house is only by 15 kilowatt hours per square meter, reduced to it. Compared to hot water demand, it's normally 20 to 30 kilowatt hours per square meter. Although it's much higher than the energy demand of the building. It's coming near to the building which is producing its energy on site, like it was shown. It's in the morning. We are city planners. We are setting up energy requirements for new development areas. For instance, in this area, which is shown up there, we made an energy concept, and the conclusion was to provide the heat of this area with a district heating system, and to make a local a local law which forced the investors to connect themselves to the system. And also we have a high-rise development plan here in Frankfurt, which reduces the energy demand of the high-rise buildings to 150 kilowatt hours per square meter primary energy. This is something the investors are doing for them without this plan, because everyone wants to achieve a LEED gold level or a DGNB gold level. And in this case, they have to even be better. We have subsidies for passive house standard in social housing. A lot of new constructions in social housing have been built in passive house standard, and also the refurbishment of these houses should be done in this way, and this is what we do with our town-owned project developer, the ABG Frankfurt Holding. They have made some building renovations even to passive house standard, because this is something we have to face. Only 1% of the building stock is constructed new, 99% is old, and this has to be refurbished to a better standard. This is how we try to influence our utility as local authorities, as energy providers. The combined heat and power I already mentioned. We want to increase the share of district heating in Frankfurt, and also build more small district heatings. The utility has a promotion program for households and small medium enterprises to boost energy efficiency, and they have the target to invest about 370 million euros into renewable energy by the year 2015. Of course, they will not invest this amount of money on the territory of Frankfurt, but in the region, especially in windmills. Well, this is more or less the role of the municipal energy agency I am working for, and we are responsible for the Sustainable Energy Action Plan of Frankfurt. We are developing this plan together with the utility, together with the housing company, and we provide concepts for the renovation areas. We have a free consulting service for every company in Frankfurt, for every private household. And we are driving several programs to boost energy efficiency or saving of energy in Frankfurt. For instance, every 2 years we have the Green Building Award from small single-family houses up to office buildings. And we have a subsidy programs for households and small enterprises, which is for saving electricity. We reward the saved kilowatt hour by 10 cents per kilowatt hour. We have a combined heat and power push since the year 1990, and we increased the share of the number of these plants from 1 in 1990 to 250 in now 2012. We have a program which is called Eco-Profit for small and medium enterprises to engage them to reduce their environmental footprint. And we have been setting up a local energy efficient network for small and medium enterprises and also for industry. In the future, we will focus a very lot on the industrial sector because this is contributing quite a big share to our CO2 emissions, and of course to the trade and commercial sector with office buildings. We have an organization in Frankfurt which is called Environmental Learning, and this organization drives a broad environmental education program which already starts at the primary school. In these schools, energy teams are built. I think about 100 schools in Frankfurt are now in this program. And this is a figure from 2009. These energy teams at the school, they saved 600,000 euro. I think in the last year they saved more than 1 million euro of the energy costs for the schools, and they can participate at the savings. They get 25% of the savings is going to the school, and they can invest in new energy saving measurements, or they can invest in other things the schools are needing. The budget of the schools is always limited, and through this they can finance a lot of more of extra things for the children. Of course, we are trying to do education for service engineers and also for local craftsmen, together with engineering chamber and the Chamber of Commerce. And these four young men are giving advice of how to behave more climately friendly. They say strawberries in winter, you don't need them. That's what I'm doing for climate change. This is, of course, a big aspect, the consuming, and this is something which is always a little bit neglected. And for this, we have an exhibition. It's called Climate Gourmet, and it shows how your consume is influencing climate change. Yes, the vision is 100% renewable in the year 2050. Hopefully we will make it, but we think that the energy efficiency measurements is the most sustainable and powerful measurement to receive this. We need to decrease our energy demand by 50% till the year 2050. If we don't do so, renewable energies will not have the chance to cover our total demand. It's a Frankfurt situation. It's a push for district heating. We already have a share of 50%. We will increase it, and we also have a coal-fired power plant in the system, which needs to be replaced via renewable energy. For instance, biomethane plant or power-to-gas plant. This will be something which will help us in the medium term. We still have a high potential for smaller CHP, which means cogeneration units up to 5 megawatt of electrical power, and we're pushing them, giving advice. And we think that the combined heat and power plants will be needed as a backup system for the renewable energies, but in times when wind is not blowing, when the sun is not shining, you still have the need for electricity, and decentralized CHP units can be one part of the solution for this problem. And when we have this, we will not have to spend so much money in extending the grid. Yes, in the long run, of course, all sources will have to be renewable. We won't reach our goal to be 100% renewable in 2050. We can produce a serious amount in Frankfurt, I think about 30%, but the rest of this we will need to import, and this will mainly come from the region around Frankfurt. Yes. And I think solar thermal plants, together with the district heating seat system, which are feeding in the system, not producing only the total amount of heat on site, can also deliver a significant share to our system situation in Frankfurt. And this is our vision, and this is the end of my presentation. I could show you more slides, but I think I would like to prefer to get into discussion with you. Thank you for your attention.
Teşekkür ederiz. Katkılar, değerlendirmeler ya da sorular varsa benim de var ama İnce Hocama veriyorum önce sizi.
Teşekkür ederim. Tercüme ediliyor değil mi? Türkçe sorabilirim. Siz enerji sektöründe çalışıyorsunuz ama ben şu konuyu çok merak ediyorum. O konuda bilgi verebilirseniz, bu kararlara halkın katılımı nasıl oluyor, nasıl sağlanıyor? Burada Türkiye'nin çünkü çok büyük sıkıntısı var. Bizde bir kere seçimler oluyor, ondan sonra halk hiç yokmuş gibi davranılıyor ve halka hiç sorulmuyor, görülmüyoruz.
Okay. Just a short reply. When we have been setting up our sustainable action plan together with an institute from Heidelberg, we had meetings with all people, which were open meetings. Everybody was invited to come and to share his opinion with us, how we could make it, because we have not been thinking of potentials. We have been thinking of measures which could be carried out when we did our sustainable action plans. These are two different things. When you think of potential is always very high, but is it realistic? Are other people willing to contribute to it? And this is why we are always in a discussion with the people. We are now setting up our master plan to be 100% renewable, and we have forums where we invite people to come. Sometimes they don't come. Well, this happens, and they don't want to contribute, but they have the possibility to do so.
Teşekkür ediyoruz. Ben bir soru sorabilir miyim? Yani hani katılımcı olarak. Paul, yerel otoritelerin şehir plancısı olarak rollerinden bahsetti. Merak ettiğim bir şey var. Yani orada mesela araziler kentin gelişmesi için satılıyor. Satın alanlar için pasif evler yapmak mecburidir diye bir cümle var. burada bu kararı belediye meclisi mi veriyor? Yoksa federal hükümetten gelen bir karar mı? Yani belediye meclisi böyle bir kararı verirken özgür mü? Özgür mü? Yoksa federal hükümet aslında tüm buyer'lar için, yani tüm alıcılar için kentlerde kentsel dönüşüm için böyle bir şeyde mi? Ne derler? Kararı var mı? Yoksa belediye meclis kararı özgürlük anlamında yeterli mi?
Yes. Okay. When the city is the owner of the land, then it can take the decision because it's a contract, it's a private contract, and that was a decision by the local parliament to say when the city owns land and this land is sold to an investor, this investor is obliged to construct a house in passive house standard. If he doesn't do it, he doesn't get the land.
Yani
That's what the city can do.
Güzel, teşekkür ediyoruz. Veriyorum.
Utku Zırı ben. Mece Televizyonu Yeşil Bülten programı. Benim de bir sorum olacak kendisine. Bu son açık kalan sayfa bence önemli ve çok kritik. Ama bir önce gösterdiğin Paul'ün bir önce gösterdiği üzerinden de bir kurgu yapmak lazım burada. Dünyadakiyle hemen hemen benzer bir enerji tüketim dağılımları var. Yani hane halkının ve diğerlerinin oranı %35'ler civarında, endüstri ve ticaret, servis sektörü %65'ler civarında enerji tüketiyor. Frankfurt'ta da anladığım kadarıyla. Burada %100 yenilenebilir enerjiye geçmek, ben sadece iklim krizi diye tabir etmemek lazım. Ekolojik krizin önüne geçmez. Çünkü biliyoruz ki 5 yıl önce hidroelektrik santrallere de yenilenebilir enerji deniyordu. Ya da rüzgar santrallerinin de bugün Türkiye'de sorun oluşturduğu yerler var. Şöyle düşünürsek buradaki en acayip ve radikal şey bence %50 enerji ihtiyacını düşürmek. Evet, gel bu. %50 enerji ihtiyacını düşürmek. Bunun için nasıl bir strateji izleyecekler? Bu gerçekten benim çok merak ettiğim ve bence dünyaya da örnek olacak şekilde önemli bir iş.
Yes, you're perfectly right. Because energy reduction is the most effective thing to do so, and it's a thing which is paying off. We are facing a lot of examples. For instance, when you do a refurbishment to a building, for instance, from back to the 60s, which a very low energy standard, and you try to make this a low energy demand building, and then you provide the heat for the building with a CHP plant, for instance, and a solar thermal plant in the summer for the hot water, for the domestic hot water. Then you can have a reduction of CO2 emissions by 80%. So 20% is remaining, and I think that in the future the renewable energy production will increase, of course, due to because of our Renewable Energy Act, and we will have such a tremendous surplus of electricity. Not now, but thinking of 20 years ahead. There will be too much energy or electricity in the system, and this electricity can be converted into natural gas via hydrogen and via a chemical process which makes methane out of it. This will well, 80% it's much more than just 50% of energy efficiency. But I also have a look at the industrial processes, and these are the critical ones. That's what you really mentioned, and this is the right finger on me to push me, because this is something I have no instrument to force industry to do so. I just can go to them and talk to them. We have in Frankfurt a program. Sorry. Okay. We have in Frankfurt a program which is called Master Plan Industry 2030. And this is a platform where we are discussing with the industry how it can be possible that they are contributing to the goals of the city. Only 50,000 working places. We could say, go away, go somewhere else, but this won't solve the problem. So we will see what the future will bring, how they're going to be more energy efficient. I don't have the solution for this in the moment. I just have to talk to them, to make them aware of the problem, to say, we have this goal, we would appreciate if you would contribute to it. And in fact, in Frankfurt, industry is quite a lot. They have I think, Infrasurf at Frankfurt. They have one of the biggest biogas plants in Germany, with a capacity of 3,000 cubic meter biogas per hour. But it only delivers a small share to their energy demand, of course. But I think they are on a good way. They are aware of the problem. And the next thing would be to negotiate some CO2 targets with them. A lot of companies do have so. The DAX, the companies which are at the stock exchange, at the DAX, they have CSR policies and they have CO2 reduction targets. And if they implement concrete CO2 reduction targets, 20% or say 1 million ton per year or whatever, they will be able to achieve these targets. That's what I'm pretty sure of this. Yes.
And two instruments you have.
Mikrofon.
Energy efficiency and CO2 targets.
Yes.
With these instruments, you are planning to reduce.
With the CO2 targets, I want to tackle the industry to convince themselves that they are setting themselves up CO2 targets. Some companies already did it, and I would very much appreciate if the others do so.
Bu tarafta vardı bir el kaldırmalar. Nafiz. Mikrofona geçirelim.
Nafiz Güder, Yeşil Adımlar Çevre Eğitimi Derneği. Bir yorumum bir de sorum olacak. Tabii ki Frankfurt yönetimi olarak bütün bu gayretkeş girişimlerinizi takdir etmek gerekiyor. Çünkü Türkiye'de en azından benim bilgim dahilinde bu ne merkezi düzeyde ne de yerel düzeyde bu kadar iddialı hedefler konulmuyor. Fakat figürlere baktığımız zaman, sayılara baktığımız zaman 2030'da düşmeyi hedeflediğiniz kişi başı karbondioksit ayak izini 5.7 olarak söylediniz yanılmıyorsam. Zaten web sitenizde de aynı şekilde belirtiliyor. Şu anda da kişi başına yılda 12 ton civarında bir yükünüz var. İronik bir şekilde şu anda Türkiye'de kişi başına karbondioksit ayak izi yaklaşık 5.7 ton. Yani bizim şu andaki ayak izimiz seviyesine siz 2030'da Frankfurt vatandaşları olarak düşmeyi hedefliyorsunuz. İronik olan kısımlardan birisi, biz bu arada sabah yapılan 2 sunum ışığında anladığım kadarıyla 5.7'den yukarılara doğru çıkarken siz 5.7'ye doğru inmeye çalışıyorsunuz. Başka bir ironik ve paradoksal nokta da belki 2030'a geldiğimizde bildiğimiz anlamda dünya zaten ortada kalmayacak. Yani Frankfurt olarak yaptığınız bütün bu çalışmaların boşa gitmesi ihtimali var. Şimdi bu yorumdan sonra sorum şu olacak. Frankfurt'ta kişi başına karbondioksit ayak izini hesaplarken Frankfurt ekonomik ve ekolojik sisteminin başka sistemlerle ilişkisini ne kadar hesaba katıyorsunuz? Sorumu somutlaştırmak için şöyle söyleyeyim. Örneğin çimento gibi, demir çelik endüstrisi gibi enerji yoğun ve yüksek kirleticiliği olan endüstrileri sınırlarınız dışarısına atıp fakat bunların ürettiklerini Frankfurt'a ithal ettiğiniz takdirde karbon ayak iziniz düşük gözükecektir ama aslında karbon ayak izi maliyetiniz başka bölgelerde gizli bir şekilde yansıyacaktır. Soru açık oldu mu emin değilim. Teşekkür ederim.
Yeah. I understand. First thing, you can't compare the CO2 emissions of a city with the CO2 emissions of a country. Yeah, the density of energy in a city is much higher than the density of a whole country. That's what I think. That's what the benefit in Turkey probably is. If we would have seen a CO2 balancing of Ankara, it would look would be even much higher than the 5.6 tons. But you're perfectly right. Yeah, in Germany we have high CO2 emissions. In Turkey you have low CO2 emissions. Why should you do something? But yeah, I would say it's easier for you to achieve the 2-ton goal because you're coming from a lower level. So I think don't stop it, your efforts, and go on. And of course, the other question was why use CO2 emissions per capita? Thinking of residential, 18% of CO2 emissions of Frankfurt is residential. The CO2 emissions per capita, it's a way the Climate Alliance is balancing CO2, and that's why I'm using it. I could show you graphs concerning the money we earn or the working places. The decrease would be tremendous. I could show you, well, we saved 30% because we are, in relation to the money we make, we are very efficient. Then you would say to me, well, Frankfurt is a financial center. You have more than 200 banks in Frankfurt. They're taking all the money of us, and you have it here. So this would also not be the right comparison. So I've been sticking to these figures, to these individual figures, and I also are looking to the different sectors. And what I am seeing have been seen in the past. Industrial sector lowered its CO2 emissions. Residential sector also lowered its CO2 emissions, but commerce sector increase the CO2 emissions, and this is one of the things we are facing. I already told you that most of the email traffic is going via Frankfurt. 400 gigawatt hours of electricity is not something which is favorable for reducing CO2. So this is getting higher, and in total we can see it's getting lower, and I think more or less we are on the right way to do so. Not all our measurements are shown in this top-down scenario. We should probably make a bottom-up scenario and say, well, combined heat and power in Frankfurt saves 1 million tons of CO2 per year. If we didn't do it, we would have even more. We would have instead of 8 million tons, we would have 9 million tons. But on international conferences is not asked.
Lütfen.
Ben Nafiz Bey'in
Tanıtır mısınız kendinizi?
Mustafa Berke benim ismim. Doğal Hayat Koruma Vakfı'nda çalışıyorum. Frankfurt Havaalanı'ndaki uçuşlardan kaynaklanan emisyonların hesabı nereye gidiyor? Biraz ek olacak. Havaya uçuyor.
This would be the transport sector. This is not included in this figure, but it depends on the regulations. The Climate Alliance will find out for the CO2 balancing. In the moment, the flights are not calculated. Probably think you have a big power station at your city, which is producing more electricity than you need. Would you balance the emissions for the city? Because, well, we have 700,000 inhabitants. These are not responsible for the traffic of the airport. We have the airport in our CO2 balancing because we say, because we don't have the emissions of cement industry somewhere else. That's why. That's because this is a service we are providing for the rest of the country, and we also have the emissions of our industrial parks. They are producing goods probably for all Europe. Insulin production in Frankfurt, I think, covers 90% of the total production of Europe.
Ben konuşuyorum galiba şimdi. Özlem Alparslan, Antalya Büyükşehir Belediyesi. Konuşmacının bahsettiği o 5 başkanlar
Covenant of
sözleşmesine
Mayors.
üye olanlardan biriyiz biz de. Ve bununla ilgili işte 2020 hedefi olarak %20 azaltım hedefimiz var. Ve bunun haricinde herhangi bir yaptırımımız yok. Çünkü işte hani bu örnekte gördüğümüz gibi Frankfurt örneğinde gördüğümüz gibi herhangi daha üst ya da merkezi yönetim odaklı bir şeyimiz olmadığı için yaptırımımız olmadığı için hani bir tek bununla ilgili çalışmalar yapabiliyoruz ve bunun da sonuçlarını mesela işte birkaç ay öncesinde bu envanterleri ve raporları biz hazırladık. Ama hani nasıl bunları uygulayacağımızı henüz bilemiyoruz. Hedefleri koyduk. Sadece belediyenin kendi kapsamında işte yapabileceği ulaşımla ilgili ya da işte enerji tüketimiyle ilgili ya da enerji üretimiyle ilgili bir takım çalışmaları olabilir. Ancak binalara ya da planlamaya odaklı herhangi bir şey yapamıyoruz. İşte önceki senelerde yönetmelik çıkarmaya çalışmıştık. Bu yönetmelikte daha önce de bahsetmiştim ben bundan. Bu yönetmelikte yenilenebilir enerji kullanımını işte destekleyici maddeler olacaktı ama işte planlı alanlar yönetmeliği geldi merkezi yönetim tarafından ve bütün bunlar çöpe atıldı bu çalışmalar. Yani bu güzel bir örnek yerel yönetimler için ama işte biz uygulayamıyoruz maalesef. Ben böyle bir karşılaştırma yapmak istedim. Teşekkürler.
Yep. I think I do not reply to this. It's just a statement from you, and this is something, of course, cities in Germany or in Hessen are facing too. That sometimes you have ambitious plans, you're setting up a local guideline or local law, and then the government comes and say, no, you can't do this. Yeah.
Özgür Gürbüz. Ben de gazeteciyim, aynı zamanda boş zamanlarımda aynı Stiftung Derneği'nde çalışıyorum. Size iki tane sorum var. İlk sorum teknik bir soru. Finansal anlamda enerji verimliliğini, yalıtım, yani bireylerin yapacağı ve karbondioksit emisyonlarını düşürecek çalışmaları destekleyen teşvik programlarınız var mı belediye olarak? Teşvik veriyor musunuz yalıtım yapmaları için insanları veya daha enerji verimli araçlar kullanmaları için krediler sağlıyor musunuz? İkinci sorun biraz daha sosyal bir sorun. Frankfurt deniz kenarında değil, benim bildiğim kadarıyla aşırı iklim olaylarında çok sık görülen bir kent değil. Buna rağmen bütün bu dönüşümün aynı Almanya'daki enerji dönüşümü gibi, Energiewende gibi bireylere bir maliyeti var büyük bir ihtimalle. Onda kilowatt saat başı 5,5 sent gibi bir para alınıyor. Nasıl ikna ettiniz Frankfurt'taki insanları bu maliyeti, bu bedeli ödemeye? Yani bize o konuda aslında fikir verir misiniz? Çünkü kutup ayılarından bahsettiğinizde çoğu insan size para vermek istemiyor.
Yeah. In fact, next year it will be 6.5 cent per kilowatt hour. Today it's 5.5, and some people are complaining about this, and I think they have the right to complain, because 1/3 of the total electricity demand of Germany is not charged for this Renewable Energy Act. The electricity used in industries, the electricity used in high density electricity using industrial sector doesn't contribute to pay the renewables. I think it's about 160 terawatt hours which are not charged. I think this should be changed. And hopefully the new coalitions we just had elections this year, and now the Christian Democratic Party and the Social Democratic Party are negotiating how they will make it, and a lot of things need to be changed in the Renewable Energy Act, in the financing of the renewable energy, and so on. And hopefully they will find a solution. But on the other hand, there is a majority of the German people who are convinced that renewable energies are the future and they are willing to pay for it.
Ali Hocam.
Ben de benzer bir soru soracağım. Daha önceki iki soruyla ilişkili. Şimdi bu iyileştirmeler 2050 hedefi renewable enerji diyorsunuz. Tabii bunun bir maliyeti var. Yani teknolojide iyileşmeler gerekiyor. Bu maliyeti halk kendi istediği için mi destekliyor? Tabii bunun bir ekonomik boyutu var, maliyeti var. Yeni teknolojiler daha pahalı oluyor ilk başında. O maliyeti kim ödüyor? Halk mı ödüyor istekli olduğu için? Yoksa hükümet veya belediye buna bir destek verip uzun dönemde buradan bir yarar mı sağlıyor? Bir şeyi de soracağım. Mesela Türkiye'de evlerin ısıtılması için doğalgaz kombi cihazları kullanılıyor. Biz hiç elektrik üretmiyoruz ama belki de üretilebilir kojenerasyondan. Böyle teknolojiler var mı? Nasıl yaşama geçiyor? Onu öğrenmek istedim.
Okay. First of all, energy saving measures and measures in energy efficiency are mostly economically feasible. It's just a problem of transformation of knowledge to make the people aware. Probably, well, talking of cogeneration, when you produce electricity and heat in the basement, you have a boiler and you have electricity from the grid. Why should you install an extra unit to produce electricity yourself? Probably you will make some money with it, but does it really pay off the effort to do so? Yeah. In this case, we promote energy service companies, which job is to produce energy efficiently and install this unit and operate this unit. This probably convinces companies to install such units. And as I already said, concerning the Renewable Energy Act, the amount of money which has been putting on your electricity bill, it's about 20% of the total cost. Most people are willing to pay it and able to pay it. If people are not able to pay their electricity bill, we have measurements for them. We have energy consultants for people for poor people. They're coming to them, providing advice in installing energy-saving devices, which are for free. And due to this, they can reduce their energy bill and also save CO2. And this is something, of course, you have to take in mind at this time.
Benim sorum var, hemen sorayım. Eğer mevcut belediye başkanı iklim planlarının hedeflerini uygulamazsa ne olur?
It's a good question. We have a Lord Mayor from Social Democratic Party, but we also have an electorate majority of Greens and Conservative Party. I think the goals of the Social Democratic parties are not against climate change actions. Our Lord Mayor, well, he promoted to be Frankfurt to be the solar capital of Germany. We think, well, the other measures are paying off more than just to be a solar capital, but well, he's on the right way. Yeah.
Veriyorum size.
And I think he can't change because other mayors have signed contracts for the covenant of mayors, and he can't say, well, we are now quitting this. I think this would be against all the public opinion, and this is something he wouldn't do. Yeah.
Çiğdem Derneği'nden Tülay Korkmaz tekrar. Avrupa Birliği bütçesinde Bu konuda ayrılmış bir kalemi var mı? Ayrıca da aldığı bir tedbir var mı? Sadece Frankfurt yahut Almanya vatandaşları mı karşılıyor bu işleri? Yoksa birliğin herhangi bir yardımı ve önlemi var mı?
Both. In the past, we have been financing a lot of our actions via doing projects with the European Union because our funding was not so good. We are now we are now working for 20 years. This has been changing in the past. Now we have a budget of, I think, 1.4 million euros for spending to subsidy programs, for making campaigns and doing consulting service. In our agency are working about 10 people are working together in 3 sectors to promote it, to push these sustainable energy actions in Frankfurt. And this is also paid by the municipality. So we have fortunate conditions, but if we wouldn't have these fortunate conditions, we would have have a stronger view at European programs to support ourselves via this.
Gülten'den sonra 2 tane almam gerekiyor. Zaman kalmadı. Öğleden sonra çok yoğun bir programla karşı karşıyayız. Seçeceğim. Hiç konuşmayanı, sabahleyin konuşmayanı seçeceğim. Kaldırır mısınız ellerinizi? Tülün değil. Belma'yı seçeceğim. Bir kişi daha seçeceğim. Evet. Özür dilerim hocam. Zaten erkek olduğunuz için düştünüz.
Teşekkürler Gülten Kavurmacıoğlu, Atölye Kale. Eğitimden bahsettiniz, çevre eğitiminden. Almanya'da eğitimin içeriğinin belirlenmesi merkezi otoriteden gelen bir şey midir, yoksa şehirler kendi okullarındaki eğitim içeriğini belirleyebiliyorlar mı? Birinci soru bu. İkincisi, sadece eğitim dışında bir de aksiyona geçmiş ve 1 milyon euro civarında bir tasarruf yaptıklarından bahsettiniz. Buradaki yol haritası nasıldı? Nasıl bir yöntem izlediniz?
Yeah. Starting with the last question. The budget was, we made this Sustainable Energy Action Plan by the Institute from Heidelberg. And in this Sustainable Energy Action Plan was a measurement plan where the costs for the measurements have been indicated. And the local parliament made a decision about this. And the decision was like, if we have enough money to support this plan, we will give the money to Energiereferat. And of course of this, we now have a budget of now 1 million euro. It was higher in the past, but according to household conclusions and saving money and so on, it decreased a little bit, but it still is quite high. We are in from my point of view. In the past we had about 50,000 euro, you know. A lot of things changed. And talking of these educational programs, they have been developed in the city by this unit, the Umweltlernen. It's called Umweltlernen. And they developed the Year of Sustainability for primary and secondary schools. And this is something which was, in the first place, unique for Frankfurt. And then government of Hessen, which is one of the states of Germany, they said, well, it's a good idea. We want to adopt it to our learning plan for the schools. And in this case, they're now doing 3 or 4 pilot projects in other cities which want to implement the Year of Sustainability. And probably in the future, well, this is coming from the municipality to the national government or to the local governments. They want to implement it probably in their guidelines for the primary schools and the secondary schools.
Teşekkürler. Belma?
Belma Beyaz, Sivil Toplum Geliştirme Merkezi. Sivil toplum örgütlerinin rolü nedir bu süreçte? Yani eylem planı oluşturulurken ya da strateji belirlerken bir de kent konseyleri ne şekilde işliyor? Yani sivil toplum örgütleri kent konseylerine dahil mi? Çünkü Türkiye'de görüntüde dahil fakat karar alma süreçlerinde hiçbir yetkileri olmuyor. Yani sadece faaliyet yapıyorlar. Hani Frankfurt'ta ne şekilde işliyor ya da Almanya genelinde? Bunu öğrenmek istiyorum.
I think when you're talking of special planning, yeah, the NGOs can give a statement, but the statement is probably not relevant or not used when the development plan is coming into force. But they are asked, and they can give a statement. It's the same like we are also asked, but the development department takes our suggestions or refuses to take our suggestions. When we have been setting up our sustainable energy action plan, and when we are now setting up our master plan, of course these NGOs are invited to have the discussion with us. But my experience is that the input from these organizations is, well, it's not very. We don't have any very strong input from them. Yeah.
Teşekkürler. Ayşegül?
350 Antalya'dan Ayşegül Aykut ismim. Benim sorum şu olacak, biraz benzer olacak ama ilk bu işe başladığınızda tüm bu işleri yapmak için, yani enerji sektöründe, ulaşımda, eğitimde, birçok alanda radikal değişikliklere gidebilmek için sizi halk mı zorladı, yoksa siz farkındalık olarak tüm dünyanın iyilik meleği olarak bu işlere mi başladınız? Birinci sorum bu olacak. İkincisi de bir belediyenin bu konularda harekete geçebilmesi için, eğer kendinde böyle bir farkındalık yoksa veyahut da merkezi yönetim içerisinde, yani daha doğrusu merkezi yönetim sebebiyle kısıtlı ve hareketsiz kaldığını söylüyorsa ve bu yüzden hiçbir girişimde bulunmuyorsa, biz hangi konularda baskı yaparak veya hangi yöntemi kullanarak belediyeyi harekete geçirebiliriz?
Yes, it depends a little bit on the political situation you are facing in your municipality. When you look at Frankfurt, we have a coalition of Christian Democratic Party, which are the Conservatives, and the Green Party. Of course, the Green Party, which normally has its roots in NGOs and so on, is influencing energy policy quite a lot. And when I'm thinking, this is a coalition now, when I think back to the 1990s, where the Municipal Energy Agency was founded, we had a coalition between Social Democratic Party and Green Party. So I think the Green Party is probably the key for all the measurements concerning CO2 savings. And this is why there is an energy agency in Frankfurt. It was part of the decisions of the coalition to install such a unit, and the Christian Democratic Party, and now they continued to have this unit. Whether one time you have such a unit in a municipality, you cannot easily get rid of it. This is one part of the question. The other question was related to the to the education, wasn't it?
Diğeri de şu, bu işlere sadece farkındalık olarak mı girdiniz yoksa bir üzerinize baskı hissettiğiniz için mi? Veyahut da bu farkındalıkla birlikte bu 2030 ya da 2040'lı yıllarda sadece dünyanın kurtuluşu anlamında değil de sektörel anlamda da yani enerji sektöründe, ulaşım sektöründe de bir çıkar elde edebileceğinizi düşünerek mi diye sorayım.
Well, our motivation, or my personal motivation, is that we should deliver a planet for the further generations, which is still a nice place to live, and that's why I'm working in this sector. And I think this motivation is also the motivation of my colleagues, and I would predict this is the motivation of you who are sitting here in this surroundings. But I cannot speak for all Frankfurt inhabitants, and of course we are doing awareness rising campaigns. For instance, when you see we have a subsidy program for using less electricity in the households or for small and medium enterprises. This is, and for this item you need to raise the awareness of the people that electricity is still the energy with the highest CO2 factor. In Germany it's about, I think, 600 grams per kilowatt hour for the electricity. In Scandinavia it's much less because they have a lot of nuclear power plant and they have a lot of hydropower. But all over Europe it's still 450 grams. This is much more than natural gas or heating oil. And in this case we have been setting up this campaign to make people aware that electricity saving is good for climate protection, and the subsidy we give, it's just something extra.
Teşekkür ederim. Korsan olarak son sorumu moderatörlüğümü kullanarak söyleyeceğim. Paul, bu Frankfurt'un iklim eylem planında üniversitelerin rolü ne? Yani onlarla araştırma çalışmaları, bilimsel çalışmalar yapıp onları destekliyor musunuz? Yani education boyutundan daha farklı bir şey soruyorum. Ya da teşvik vererek bu anlamda bir işbirliği sağlıyor musunuz? Teşekkür ederim.
Yes, we have cooperations with the university, but it's not, in fact, one of my working sector. I think we are supporting, we're doing projects together with the industry, supporting them probably with a little bit of money. So that's what we are doing also with NGOs or with companies which are contributing to our goal to reduce CO2 emissions. There are several cooperations, and if possible, we had, for instance, a cooperation with the University of Frankfurt. They joined our eco-profit program and tried to reduce their CO2 footprint. And these are collaborations.
Teşekkür ederiz. Kapatıyoruz. Artık son, evet. Bundan sonra, evet, tabii veriyorum. Saat tam 2'de öğleden sonraki ilk sunuş için başlayacağız. Aynur Hanım son sorusunu soruyor. Son soru.
Sunumunuz için teşekkür ediyorum. Kent konseyleri, yerel gündem ve kent konseylerinin içinde bildiğim kadarıyla Almanya'daki tüm taraflar bir araya gelmiş durumda ve ortak kararlarla hareket ediliyor diye biliyoruz biz. Frankfurt'ta kent konseylerinin ne derece etkili olduğunu ve halen devam edip etmediğini ben merak ediyorum. Teşekkür ederim.
Probably I didn't understand the question. Sorry.
Bir açıklama getirebilir miyim? Kent konseyleri Türkiye'de belediyelerde gönüllü oluşumlar, gönüllü organizasyonlar. İçinde sivil toplum kuruluşu da var, üniversiteden de var, kamudan da var. Kanunumuz gereği, belediye kanunu gereği kent konseylerini belediyeler kurmak zorundalar. Sadece katılımcılığı arttırmak için. Biz bu kent konseylerinde çok iyi bir katılımcılık sergileyemiyoruz. Aynur Hanım'ın sorusu anladığım kadarıyla böyle bir belediye bünyesinde katılımcı bir modelle kurulmuş bir organizasyon var mı ve bu planlara etkisi oluyor mu kararlarda? Gönüllü bir oluşum, yani bir kurum aslında.
You mean a council which gives advice to the local parliament, to the politician decision makers? Yeah. Our Lord Mayor has installed such a expert round or whatever, where people are from the utility, from university, which are counseling him concerning several questions, for instance, energy relations or questions of clean air or of the noise of planes and something like this. This is what he did proactively, but there will be such counsellors for several problems, but I don't know them personally. That's why I'm not the right question to ask. Sorry.
Daha çok uzman desteği, yani alınıyor. Teşekkür ediyoruz. Evet. Saat tam 2'de birinci sunuşumuzu yapmak üzere yemeğe gidiyoruz. Üst katta.